Hi everybody, and welcome back to She's the Boss Female Entrepreneur Stories. I have been gone for a little while because I've been rebranding and also because I wiped my whole laptop and I've had to start from scratch, but that's a story for another video. I just want to thank everybody for sticking with us and tuning in for today. There's going to be a new video released every Sunday at 8 o'clock, so make sure that if you haven't already done so, you click that subscribe button so that you're the first to know when a new video is launched. Today, I am really excited because I am joined by Layla Harris, who is the co-founder of the Harris Trading Academy. Layla, thank you so much for joining me today.
No problem, it's an honor.
So for those of you who haven't heard of the Harris Trading Academy, Layla, would you like to inform everyone what it's all about?
So myself and my husband, Winston Harris, we teach people how to navigate the stock markets and the Forex markets. So our idea came about just from us personally trading, and we really wanted to just like simplify the context and make it like really easy for people to grasp. Mm-hmm. So that was our initial idea.
And in terms of when you started the academy, when did you first launch?
So we launched roughly around 18 months ago. Mm-hmm. So before then, I had my own businesses. So I was like, I've always been interested in business from I was like young. I left college, I got pregnant young. So I had my first child when I was 18. And obviously being at home, I had time on my hands. So I wanted to do something, and I wanted to like make it for myself. Just because nobody has great expectations of you when you have a child young. Mm-hmm. So it gave me drive. So what I started to do, I started to just like buy and sell domain names when the internet was like literally you had to plug it into your wall. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
So what I started to do, I could see the future in the internet. It wasn't huge just yet, but I knew that everybody was going to need a website, and I knew that everybody was going to need a domain name. Half of the people that I spoke to didn't even know what a domain name was. So what I started to do was started to buy popular domain names of big companies and sell them to them when they needed them. Wow. So that's how I started off, and then I just kind of grew from there and started like venturing into different types of businesses. It wasn't until about 5 years ago that me and my husband hit like quite a sticky patch, and it was like I'd always known about trading because I went to trading university about 9 years ago. So I hadn't really took it seriously. I kind of just done it when I needed new bags or holidays, you know, just delve into the markets. I didn't really trust putting like loads of money into the market. Mm-hmm. I didn't feel that I had been taught properly. I felt like there was missing blocks to my learning, like I just knew within myself. So it wasn't until we were going through some financial difficulties that I says, you know, like, why don't you learn to trade? And he was like, I've always wanted to know how to trade. And we had that conversation, and that's when we started. So we started trading together, and then we decided that we were going to build like a rock solid strategy because from what I had learned, it wasn't like a solid strategy to go out there and think that you could make loads of money. So we started to do that, and then we started to have people ask us, like when we would like going on holidays and our lifestyle was changing, we had people asking us to teach them. And at first we weren't going to teach. We were like, nope, this is ours. Like we're keeping it to ourselves. It was one of those, we literally had conversations like that, like should we share it and things like that. And it wasn't that we're selfish people or anything. It's just, it felt very personal because we had gone through the graft. Mm-hmm. It was like, okay, this is our like gold basically. Mm-hmm. So then, you know, eventually we came around to the idea after being asked enough times, and it was like, you know, like why not help others? So then it started off as just having like a couple of students come on board, and then it just spread by word of mouth. We've never advertised. We've never done anything like that. And we have students continuously coming through just by recommendation and word of mouth.
That's excellent. And going back, I like that you provided a lot of context there. You said you had a child young.
Yeah.
What, whilst you, because I know I'm a mother and I know lots of other mothers that when they have a baby, it can do a lot to your confidence, and especially some mums really struggle to work out what direction that they're going to go in. How did you really get the confidence to say, I'm here with a new baby and I'm going to get up and do this new and exciting thing?
I think, to be honest, I think it was my mom.
Mm.
My mom's always been like a driving force. When we were 16, we had to do like self-confidence lessons at her house. So my mom's a teacher and she's always taught us. So when I was 10 months old, my mom started to teach me how to read.
Mm-hmm.
So by the time I was 6, I was on A levels.
Wow.
But I didn't come, the thing is, I didn't leave school with glowing results as you would think, because I skived half of school because it was just too boring and too slow. Mm-hmm. So I think like my mom implanted a lot in us. Like even we weren't really allowed to play out during school holidays. It was work first, then you go out at 3:00 after we've learnt languages, done art. We didn't have school holidays. So I think my mom kind of set us up to not have holidays and not take time off. Mm-hmm. So that just like kind of translated into my adult life, and it was kind of like I didn't feel good being still ever. Like it was like, this is too much time. Like whenever I've got time on my hands, I kind of tend to fill it unless I've decided to take a break. Mm-hmm. So yeah, my mum done like every Friday, me and my sisters had to go to my mum's house. She'd done law of attraction teachings with us. We used to read a book like every week. So 1 week it would be The Secret, the next week it would be something else, like Napoleon Hill or something. So we had some good teachings from like instilled in us from we were young, and then it just gave me the confidence to like go out there. Like, I wouldn't say I'm a confident person. I always say to people I'm shy, and people don't think I am. But I do feel an inner shyness, but I push myself past it anyway.
I always feel that there's a difference, and people may disagree, but I don't care. I feel like there's a difference between shyness and confidence. Because I feel like I also am quite naturally shy, but I also think I'm confident. And for me, confidence is I believe in my own abilities. And I believe that I'm good at what I do. But whereas shyness, I don't think it means that you don't believe in your abilities. It means I just don't really like to speak to people. I think it's a bit different. Your mom sounds like an amazing woman, and I'm sitting here thinking, oh my gosh, I'm not doing enough reading with my daughter.
Do you know what? The thing is, I'm so aware. I homeschool all my children. So I've got 6 children. Wow. And I homeschool them, and I've decided to do that because I just want them to find their inner self. Like, I don't want their confidence knocked or anything taken away from them. But I don't feel like I do enough work with them. But a couple of my children have got like really severe dyslexia. So when I do start trying to like push them, I can see that it doesn't help them. It just makes them more like not believe in themselves. So I kind of try and push them towards things that they want. So in my house, it's like I will say to my kids, okay, so what's going on today? What do you want to do today? How are you going to develop yourself today? So I leave it to them, and they become really good at things like that. Like my daughter will say, like, I want to look into being a real estate agent. My other daughter will be doing languages and keyboard, and my other daughter will probably be doing gymnastics and dancing. And then we come together and we have like a little time where we meditate, and we we do affirmations and things like that. So it's more like I want to build them up from the core rather than academically, because not everybody is great at academics. Mm-hmm. But you have to have the core stuff to be good at anything in life.
Mm-hmm. I'm just feeling like I'm not doing enough in life because I've got 1 kid, and you just told me you got 6, and you're homeschooling, and you're running business. How? Please. I'm sure everybody else is wondering the same thing. How? And how in all of that do you find time for you?
I'm not hard on myself. I think that's the main thing I've had to come and realize. Like it's like I used to stress a lot and think I need to do this with my kids, and I need to do that, and I need to have the house tidy, and I need to, I used to feel really overwhelmed all the time. And I come to the point where it was once I started meditating that I started to like be a lot more relaxed and start to just like step back a bit and be like, okay, if I don't do the washing today, is it going to really kill me? Can I do it another day? Like, if I don't get this done today, is it going to have a detrimental effect? And I've realized that as I'm relaxing and not being so hard on myself, things are running anyway more smoothly, and not everything gets done. It doesn't get done in the 24 hours that I have. But what I do is I do the things that are most important for the day. And I feel okay that I've done the things that are most important to me for the day.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that a lot of mums probably do put a lot of pressure on themselves. And it's like, what I've realized is that the most important thing for children is for you to give them time.
Mm-hmm.
And then say for your husband, I've got a husband, it's time. He's always like, sit down, chill out, watch something with me without going on your computer. Then my children, it's like, Mom, watch a movie with us, come and dance with us. And then for myself, it's time. So it's like, as long as I've allocated that time, and then everything else just gets the leftover time.
Yeah, whatever.
Do you know what I mean? So it's like business, children, husband, myself get the main bulk of time. And then washing clothes, tidying up, and all those other stuff get whatever's left over.
And I think that's such an important way of looking at it and doing it. And I was in a very similar space before of the house needs to be perfect. And you listen to outside voices as well, like why is the house not perfect? Why are the dishes not washed? Why are the clothes not washed and ironed and folded and put away? I don't do ironing. That's the first thing at all. I refuse to iron. Unless I'm wearing it right now, I'm not ironing it.
That's me.
Yeah, and that's how I sit in for an hour every Sunday ironing clothes. I'm just not doing it. There's more to do. So I think, that's a really good lesson for those of you watching, take note. So you said that you went to trading university. What inspired that, and what was that like?
So many years ago, I was really money orientated. I used to do a lot of things for money more than joy. So I would be that business person that always calculated what are the potential returns before I do anything. So I saw the advertisement and saw somebody make like 20,000 in 2 minutes, and I was like, "Ooh, that sounds good to me." So to be honest, that's what inspired it. It was all money driven, but I didn't realize until like later on in life when I started to do it properly that trading is more than just money. It's a reflection of yourself. It really builds your character and yourself, because you can't go into the markets with negative energy or feeling negative, because it ties in with your results that you get. So you do have to, with trading, learn to master yourself as well as the markets. So that's something that we do work on with our students as well. Like, it's more self-mastery as well as the trading mastery, because it's not just a cash machine that's just going to give you loads of money if you're not doing the right things and you're not approaching the market in the correct way. So for me, even though it started out as a shallow way of looking at it, I feel that it's the best thing I've done, and it's really built my character as well as my bank account.
See, I don't think it's shallow. I think that money makes the world go around, and if you're going to do something, at least do it and know that you're going to get a decent return at the end. A lot of the time, women, and especially I would say black women, not even women of color, but black women specifically, I think sometimes we apologize for wanting to be financially driven or for being financially driven. And actually, the only way that we're going to be able to elevate ourselves and create a legacy for our children is by focusing on money, and not at the expense of everything else. And I think you've made it quite clear that family is really important, but there also needs to be some sort of focus on finance, or there's not going to be a legacy for the generation. So don't apologize for it. You did it, and I think that's amazing. So, and for those of the people that are watching or listening that don't understand, and this may be a really difficult question, but don't understand what trading is, can you give us like a synopsis of what trading actually means?
Okay, so you have like financial markets in the world, and there's many of them. I primarily trade the forex market, which is the biggest of them all. It's a it, it's it trades $5 trillion a day, so you can imagine how liquid this market is. So within the markets, you have the banks that are trading our money.
Mhm.
You have hedge funds. You have general people like me and you, and then you have like all the professional traders in between that. And what you're doing is you're using analysis. So there's things going on in the world that don't get reported so much to us on the everyday news. So there's certain sources that you go to, and basically the world economy and the world news is moving that market at all times. So when you go to the you're going on holiday and you go to the bureau, and it's got an exchange rate, they're giving you, like say for the euro to the pound, that's basically what the euro and pound are trading against each other on the live markets. Now you never get a great deal at these bureaus as you would get if you trade in the live markets. But so if the say if a pound is if the pound's stronger than the euro at the time, then you will basically be getting less euro to the pound. So say for example the euro's 80 pence to the pound, so that just means that the euro's weaker at that time. The European economy is weaker. So at the moment we're going through Brexit, so that is weakening the pound. You probably see that on the news all the time. I'm not sure,
Yeah.
but I do. So it's like things that are going on in the world are affecting the currencies, and that's what you trade. So I would take for example the pound and trade it against say another strong currency, which could be the yen, for example, and trade them off each other and make money off that movement. So that's what I do as a trader. I think was that simple.
Yeah, that was a good subject. I feel like I have a better understanding, and I don't necessarily understand it before. So if I can understand it, everybody else can.
Yeah, so that's basically what it is. With stocks, it's you buying into companies. So for example, today, Hasbro acquired Peppa Pig. So I
have a daughter.
Yeah. So their stock went up today. So if you had placed your position to buy Hasbro, you would have made money. So that's what moves the market basically.
Oh, that's really interesting. What has been the greatest lesson that you've learned going through this so going to trading university, trading yourself, and also I suppose working with your students? What has been the kind of greatest lesson that you've learned?
I would say that dedication and consistency are the most important thing in anything that you do.
I could not agree more. I really couldn't agree more. Have you, well, I would say as a follow-on from that, discipline is what then impacts whether you can be dedicated and consistent.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you believe that, and I assume this would be the case, that the training from your mom and being so kind of regimented in what you had to do you think that has helped you to be more disciplined, which has then enabled you to be consistent and dedicated?
Yeah, and no, like my mom did instill discipline, but I was very rebellious spirit, I would say. So in a sense I rebelled from a lot of the things, and I think that life has taught me a lot as well, just not listening. Like if you ask anybody that knows me, like, do I listen to anybody? Everyone would say no, she doesn't listen to anyone. I do, they just think I don't. Yeah. But it's just like I very much go with myself a lot, and then sometimes I learn the hard way. So I think that life has taught me discipline because of all the the times I haven't listened and I've made mistakes.
As my grandparents would say, if you can't hear, you will feel.
You must feel. I heard that a lot growing up. I really did. But yeah, I think that life is the biggest teacher.
Mm-hmm.
I say to my, I've got a teenage son now. Obviously, he's 17, and you know, he's going through his stage where he has to now feel. And I always say to him, if you don't listen, life will teach you.
Mm-hmm.
So.
No, I 100% co-sign that. And I just don't think enough people listen. So life will teach you, but I feel like too many people, even after that, still ignore the lesson and expect different results.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think more people need to hear that and feel it.
Yeah.
For sure. So you said a few years ago you went through some financial challenges. Has there been any other situation where you've kind of felt that life just feels really difficult right now and I don't know if I can proceed or continue? And how have you bounced back? And how did you bounce back from that? Obviously, you said you had a plan and a strategy, but kind of emotionally as well, how did you come back from at what I would assume was a low place that you'd have been in?
I'm quite a resilient person. Like, so when things hit me, they hit me hard. I'll probably be in my dressing gown and in my bed for a few days, like, and then once I'm over it, like I'm over that initial emotional thing that happens, then I'll get up and I'll start to come up with a strategy and a way that I can get myself out of it. So things do hit me, and I do stress, but it's just I don't, now that I understand like how the universe works and everything as well, I don't dwell on things. Like whenever anything negative happens now, like I will always try and look at the positives that are going on in my life to bring all the positives to me, rather than dwell on the one little thing that can cause your life to spiral. And I think when I didn't understand that 100, I did used to kind of like you know, have a little bit more wavering than I do now. But my mum, like, has always said to me from when I was young, I've always been like really resilient. Things don't really affect me that much. I just don't, I think life's too short. Like, I don't allow things to get to me unless it's something like major, but touch wood, nothing really, really major that I feel like I can't cope with has ever hit me. Maybe at the time, I've probably thought that I couldn't cope with it, but not to the point where it's gonna like flatten me.
So how would, if you was, I suppose when you're speaking with your students, and you're saying that self-mastery is really important, etc., what advice would you give them in terms of how they should deal with setbacks and if they've done a trade that's gone wrong, for example?
The first thing is that I would say to them is to meditate. So I'm a strong believer in meditation.
It's so hard though. It's so hard. I've been trying to meditate off and on for at least 4 or 5 years since I had my daughter, and I just quiet my brain.
At first, you can't quiet your brain, and you can't, and so a lot of the time you drop asleep.
Yeah,
like
when I was pregnant, I used to listen to guided meditation, and I'd wake up the next morning like, what happened?
What happened? But the thing is, once you're still going into your subconscious, so you're still getting the benefits from it because you've already activated your subconscious you've told it to listen. So now it's listening while you are sleeping. So it's not a bad thing, but all it is what I started to do when I used to have mental chatter, when I used to shut off my mind, I used to tell myself to shut up. So whenever it started, shut up. And then slowly, it took a while, but then it's like my brain started to listen to me. You have to take control and you have to command it, because I feel like it's two separate things. And it is two separate things because you've got the conscious and subconscious, but it's like, it's just wild until you learn to tame it. So now I can lie down and I can sit. And another good thing actually is to focus on something. So if there's a noise in the room, like a buzzing, or anything you can latch onto and focus on that, that's another way of quietening your mind. because now you're focusing, even though it's like you're holding a focus, it's better than chatter happening.
Mm. And that.
And another thing that I do is every morning. So when I wake up, you've got to remember that you're vibrationally pure now when you wake up.
Mm.
So as the most important thing to do is catch those first thoughts that you have, because those are the thoughts that are going to set your brain off for the day. So if negative thoughts start coming in, you've got to throw them out straight away and replace them with positive ones and start the day in that way.
Mm-hmm. That I will definitely be taking heed of that advice, because when I wake up, I'm normally thinking of nonsense or the dream that I just had that's normally not a great dream. So I will give that a try tomorrow.
Yeah, it's a great way for you to start on a new vibrational wave, because when you've slept, you've actually reset your vibration.
Mm.
It's just that when you wake up, your conscious mind kicks in now and is ready to take on where you left off the day before.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got to like have a morning ritual. I think everybody should have a morning ritual. I do. Before I get out of bed, I meditate and I have 3 words for the day. So I just be silent and still, and I just think of 3 words that come like very naturally. And today it was gratitude, wellness, and confirmation, and I don't know why. So then for this day, I will look for things that are confirmation of something. I look for wellness and I look for gratitude.
Mm.
And then you'll start training yourself to look for positive things in life.
I love that. That. I'm definitely going to try that, because, yeah, I think I do probably the opposite. I don't specifically say, here are 3 negative words, but I feel like I'm more, and I don't know why this is, but I'm more inclined to notice more negative things than positive. But maybe if and I've set my intention for the year, but I've not ever thought to do it for the day.
You have to, because you got to think so many things are coming at you every single day. You have to ground yourself. Like every day you've got to start anew.
Yeah.
See it as like that wake up is like you're being born again in a sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's a time for you to be able to like grasp a new vibration. Because your vibration set point can change like every day. So if you start doing something daily, it's going to change like your whole future ahead of you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that definitely makes sense. So you said that you ran a number of businesses in the past. Tell me about, so obviously you said the most important lesson has been around consistency and dedication. What are some of the other important lessons or even skills that you've learned from running different businesses?
Oh wow, I've learned a lot of skill sets because I've run so many different things. I've like done multi-level marketing. I've had my own hair salon. I've had my own wedding company. I've put on big events for speakers from The Secret. I've done like so much like throughout my life that have given me skills. But I think that the thing that I didn't have was the dedication. Like when I was younger, I used to get bored very easily. So it was like something would be my passion for like 6 months to a year. And then I'd make money and I'd just be like, I want to go on to something else now. And I'd just do like so many random things. Like I think people used to look and think this girl's just crazy. But I just was like, I see it now looking back as a free spirit. Like I just wanted to maneuver and do what I felt passionate about for that time. And I had so many things that I felt passionate about. I was a football agent for a period, ended up writing sports book, becoming Waterstones published. And then I went on to like something, what did I do after that? It was something totally different. After my book, clothing, went on to clothing. Then I went into weddings, and then I'd done my own wedding, and then the Ritz approached me to take on their whole wedding department because they were so impressed with the feedback that I gave and how on top of their wedding planners I was, and I was telling their wedding planners what wasn't up to scratch. But it's like, I don't know, I just used to get like quite obsessed with things. and then like put 100% in, but then I would get bored very quickly. And I think that it was just, I don't know what it was. I still can't put my finger on what it was, but it was just like there was a restlessness about me. But now I think I'm just more grounded, and I'm more like focused on seeing things through to maybe the end a bit more.
Mm-hmm. No, that's really interesting. Do you think that, like, I always hear people talk about you need to have a specific passion and you need to kind of stick with that passion, but quite similarly to you, although not as much, I have done lots of different things, and I feel like where I'm at now, the fact that I've done so many different things makes me really good at what I do now because I have a breadth of experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, do you agree with that more so
I
than
agree.
have one passion and run with
Yeah.
that? Okay.
I think if you have one passion and run with it, some people can do that, but I think that there's nothing like having different things in business, because with business you learn on the job.
Yeah.
There's no book that can tell you how business actually works. So when you have like different things and you're going into different areas of business, even though there is like a consistent theme to business, it's like every different industry has its own flow going on, and it has its own way. So I think that you do develop a lot more skill sets. I wouldn't change what I've done for the world. Like I'm gonna have so many stories to tell my grandkids.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to reading the book.
Say that again, sorry.
I said I'm looking forward to reading the book of your life because this sounds like it will be a bestseller.
You know, I got offered to have a movie done on me before, and it was like, and I turned it down because I didn't feel like I was ready for that. Like I didn't feel like my life was at a point where I wanted it documented.
Okay.
But I still don't feel like that, to be honest. But
is it that you don't feel like your life is at where it should be because of the high level of aspirations that you have?
Yeah.
So, because that sounds a little bit to me, not necessarily 100%, but slight imposter syndrome. Because actually, you might not be where you want to be, which might be way up here. It's true. You might not be way up here where you want to be, but actually, for somebody watching, they just want to see, they want to hear the story of how did you get to here. And when you get to there, tell another story. But right now, this is that far away from where this person down here is.
Yeah, I do think I do have that, because I'm even a qualified life coach, and I've always wanted to go out and speak, and I always think, but I'm not where I want to be yet. So how can I go out and speak to other people when I haven't achieved that pinnacle? But I don't know if I will ever achieve it, because as I'm getting more and more, I'm wanting more and more.
And this is the thing. I say this to my clients all the time who say similar things to you, like, I want to speak, but I'm not there yet. Yeah, but you're where somebody else wants to be. And that's the important part. It's not about where you want to be. It's about, are you where somebody else wants to be? And where you're at now, there's people that are trying to get there and can't. And you can inspire them by sharing how you got to there. And the fact that you're not where you want to be is irrelevant to the fact that you would be an inspiration to somebody else.
Yeah, true. It is true.
So I'm not going to say that I'm going to force you to speak at an event because you're not my client. But if I was speaking to you as a client, I would say go and find an event to go and speak at within the next 3 months and step outside of your comfort zone.
I will do that.
Okay, I'm mark this. I'm going to come back and check in 3 months.
Yeah, I'm going to do that. I'll challenge myself.
No, I think there's a lot of us as women. I don't think men necessarily have this issue. You hear men talking and they haven't achieved. Like I've been to events and heard people speaking, men. It's like, what is this person talking about? They have no clue what they're talking about, and it's obvious that they have no clue what they're talking about.
Yeah.
They've obviously blagged their way onto a stage, and was it fake it till you make it, and then they've made it. You have a story that I think many people would be inspired by. So yeah, go and find that stage to share it on.
I will.
And not following on from that, and probably not the best question to ask anyway, but I need to ask it before I forget. obviously you said that I'm really bad at remembering questions in order, but I'm feeling good that I remembered this one. So you said before people kept asking you how you done the trading and stuff, and at first you was kind of like, no, this is our thing. And one of the consistent themes that I come across when speaking with clients, and especially women, is that there's people around them that are not necessarily always happy to see them progress, and are not necessarily clapping when successes are happening. I can assume from all of the business that you've run and from the stuff that you do that you've achieved a specific level of success. How have the people around you responded to that, and how have you responded to how they've responded? Without naming any specific names unless you want to.
Yeah, so I think at first, like when I was doing all the, the small businesses running around, I think that it didn't really bother people. Like I think my friends always felt connected but disconnected because we were just different people and different things. I've never been that person that has that solid group of girlfriends or anything like that. Like I have my friends that I've had for years and we catch up every now and again, but yeah, I've never had that click because I've always just been into my business and busy. My kids, my business, and my husband, and then my family come first, and then to me that's enough. Do you know what I mean? I haven't got enough energy to go around to other people, so it's like I feel like my friends have always been distance, but there's a bigger distance now that I've reached another level of success, and it's really weird because now that I feel that I'm at this level of success where it's like I have my dream house, I have my dream income, there's nobody to share it with but my kids and stuff. It's like people don't feel comfortable to come into my space anymore.
Wow.
That's what I've found. It's like people will come here and it's almost like they can't wait to leave. Like people are comfortable here, but then it's like I sat down and I spoke to my husband a couple of weeks about this, and because it was really bugging me. I was like, do you think that, like, are we good hosts? Do you know what I mean? And things like that, because people tend to not come back. And he was like, I think he was saying that what he believes is that it's like people don't get to see where we live in, see like this type of house. And I think it makes people start thinking about themselves, and then it's like comparing or getting frustrated with themselves. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
So I do think that people have dropped off. No one's clapping, really. But I don't really need anybody to clap for me because I clap for myself. And
I'll clap too. I'm clapping.
And I just think that I don't take it personal, because I do think that it's just more about other people's like things going on within them rather than it's personal towards me.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
It's a very hard lesson to learn.
It is.
And I can't say I've got loads of clients like this, but I have a few clients that have really said they're really upset because they don't understand why this friend no longer wants to hang out with them, why they're not sharing, the simple, why they're not sharing my social media posts, blah blah blah. And yeah, I completely agree. A lot of the time, as much as it can feel personal, it's not about you, it's about them feeling like you're a reflection of where they haven't got to in life.
Yeah. And I think that a lot of people that were around me saw it as, oh, she's the one that's got loads of kids, because I had a lot of my kids while I was young. Like I had kids back to back, and I think people saw it as, well, she don't go uni. There was that, like, where a lot of people were going uni ahead of me and everything, and it was like, for me to just like surpass them in life, I think it's like just a hard pill to swallow. But I'm not apologetic for anything because I have worked my butt off to get to where I am. So I know what it takes, and I don't think a lot of people have what it takes anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And if they could watch back my life of what I've been through and what I've had to endure, they'd understand why I am where I am.
Mm-hmm. They probably would still be hating, but that's just that's just life. That's one thing I've noticed. People would prefer to say, "Oh, she was lucky," "Oh,
Yeah,
it was good luck," as opposed to, "No, she just worked really hard." And actually, you don't want to work really hard, and that's why
yeah,
you're not living the way she's living. I think I not that I like to have this conversation because it's a little bit depressing, but I think it's an important conversation to have, because I think there's a lot of people that might be listening or watching that are probably looking at somebody else and thinking, "Oh, they're so lucky, and why can't I be that lucky?" But the question that
yeah,
you need to be asking yourself is, are you working as hard? Are you willing to make the sacrifices that that person has made? Are you willing to
exactly.
not watch the TV, not go out, be broke for a little bit whilst you're building? Like, are you prepared to
Exactly.
do those things? And if you're not, then you should be. Well, whether you are or you're not, whichever way it is, you should still want to clap and celebrate another
Yeah,
woman that's being a success or is striving for success. And that essentially is why I wanted to do the female entrepreneur stories, because I think more women need to be clapping for other women.
definitely.
But yeah,
Definitely.
I think it's very difficult to really take uh, a non-personal approach or response to that, because really, if you're friends with people, if you care about people, and this applies to families as well, or family members, you want them to be happy for you. And if you're
Yeah.
someone that's happy for other people that are in successful situations,
Hmm.
it's really difficult to understand why they
Yeah.
aren't happy for you. But such is life.
Yeah, I just see it as God's preparing me for bigger and better as well. Like you've got to be strong
Mhm.
to get to the top. I think like they say, it's lonely at the top, and it really is. But I will be happy with my children and my husband on my yacht, like sipping champagne. It's
Yeah.
nothing to me. Like I will feel fulfilled by seeing the sunset. Do you know what I mean? And things
Yeah.
like that. So I'm good either way. I don't feel I need people to validate me or clap for me or anything. That's not why I do it. I do this for my kids. Now if my kids turned around and like says to me that this wasn't worth it, that probably would crush me.
Hmm. And
Do you know what I mean?
how do you balance that? So my mum was telling me she was watching something the other day with, I think it was the lady that started is it Bravissimo, the bra company,
Yeah.
and her daughter was saying that she just wanted some time with her mum and her mum wasn't ever there. How do you make sure that you balance that?
So my kids believe they don't see me even though they're homeschooled.
Mm.
I'm like, you need to step into some other kids' shoes, right?
Get farmed off from morning breakfast club to after school club and not seeing any time in between.
Yeah, so we have I always say my kids are a little bit ungrateful, I believe,
Mm.
because I think they think that every child has their lifestyle.
Mm.
Like this is normal to them in a sense. So for example, we took them to Abu Dhabi in January, New York in March. We went to Turkey and Greece in June. And they're saying they need a holiday.
That's because that's the life they've become accustomed to.
And then they were like, we haven't been on many holidays this year, have we? And I'm like, you have actually. Do you know what I mean? And then I have to really, and then they will be like, oh, we've moved into a big house, the house that they want. When we lived in our old house, it was, we want to live in a mansion. Now we live in one. It's, oh, the house is too big. Do you know what I mean? It's like, they're a bit hard to please.
I think that's just kids, to be honest.
Yeah, so it's like I'm kind of like I'm aware of that now, so I don't spoil them. I try not to spoil them.
Mm-hmm.
Like for me, taking them on holiday is about them learning, seeing the world, seeing different cultures. But when it comes to just things like, oh, I want tons of toys I'm not playing with, shoes, clothes, that kind of stuff, I'm just like, I manage them.
Mm-hmm.
I manage them with those kind of things because I want them to stay grateful. Even now, I make them work. Like if friends have any events come up, I make them, just do a little couple hours to make their money. So they've got a little bit of money that they can then use and feel responsible for, to know that things just don't come like that.
Mm.
Do you know what I mean? And I also make them very vibrationally aware. So I won't just give them anything. I say to them they have to attract it. So I've said to them that I've explained to them that they have the power. Even my 5-year-old son, like when he sees things on the TV and he's like, "Mom, Dad, can I have that?" We'll say, "You need to attract it." And no, we'll say, "No, you can't have it." He'll say, "I'll just attract it to myself then." That's what he says. So we've explained to them that they are attractors, and you can't always think mom, dad when you want something. Like, think yourself, put it on your vision board, think about it, visualize it, and see where it comes from.
Mm-hmm.
So they do those things now. And like my daughter, she wanted what are those boards called where they tilt and it moves?
Oh, I don't know, but I know what you mean.
Segway. She wanted a Segway. And she says, "Mom, can you buy me a Segway?" And I was like, "No, you got to attract it." So she cut out her Segways, printed them off with the printer. And then she said that she came in and she says, "Mom, I'm going to get a Segway. My dad's friend just said that he's got a Segway for me, that he had a spare one and I can have it. And it's the colour that I put up on my wall."
Wow.
So she was really chuffed with that. And I said, "See, you're powerful." So those are the kind of things that I'm trying to like instill in them from now. So if anything does happen, you just don't know where you're going to be in life or what can happen to you. They have the tools and the power like themselves.
Mm-hmm. And so I'm a huge proponent and believer in this idea of having a vision and being able to clearly see it, but I also believe in having actions, or having an action plan to say how you're going to get there. I was just going to say, did you have a plan to get to where you were, or did it just happen?
Believe in them. I don't believe in them. I used to be the same. I used to always say you should have a plan and set yourself goals, and I used to be like very goal orientated, and they never worked. And it was just like, I think that it's like when you have that rigidness, sometimes you can become your own like defeat in a sense. So now I have vision boards and I have things, and I know that I want them, and I know that what I need to do is the vibrational work to get them. Mm-hmm. So everything has a vibration in life. Like your car has a vibration and your house has a vibration, and in order to have that in your life, you have to be at the same vibration as it. So that's how you stepped into these things. So now I know that it's like whatever I want, I have to be on the same vibrational wavelength. So if I want an expensive car, I can't be thinking thoughts of lack while I'm trying to get this expensive car, because this expensive car has a luxurious vibration. So I have to bring my vibrational level up to that. So it's like, sorry.
No, I agree with you, but I also believe that just thinking it and having, not even just thinking it, by aligning your vibration and having this, because this is one of the things me and my husband always talk about, it's having an abundant mentality as opposed to a lack mentality. But if you're not actively doing anything else,
but that would bring the action.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. So it's essentially the same kind of thing. It's just actualizing it in different ways. So my belief is you have the actions, but the actions are pointless if you don't have the abundance mentality, or if you do have a lack mentality, and if you're not visualizing it, and if you're not trying to bring it into your being. But I also don't believe you can do one without the other. I think the two things have to work in conjunction.
I think me personally, I just think the vibrational work comes first, and then the action comes by inspired thought, though. That's how I work. So I will have my vibration going on, and when I have that inspired thought, like it's you know, that those thoughts that come to you when you're not really thinking of anything, they're just inspired thoughts. That's what that's the action I will take, because that's the connected thought that's bringing you to your things closer, rather than writing it down on paper. So I'm going to do this to get to this, when really the universe can get you to what you want a lot quicker than you possibly can. Being connected with God can.
Yeah,
Because
I feel like,
things come in ways that you don't even imagine.
see, I agree with that, but I feel like the things come in ways that you can't even imagine because you brought it in because you had a plan, and the plan comes from having the vision. So my thing is, you have the vision, you set your brain to a mindset of an abundance, you pray to God and you ask God to bring it into your life. Then you say, what are the things that I can do to help get me closer to that? And then by doing those things, then things happen that you can't even dream of. So an example, I wanted my house, and I went and got a whiteboard, which is actually sat over here, I'm looking right at it, and drew the floor plan of the house that I wanted.
Yeah.
That was me, I would say, trying to like bring this into my being. I was having an abundance mentality. This is going to happen. I'm going to stick this on the sideboard and we're going to make it happen.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is that alone, even with all of the like vibrations, etc., it can't happen unless I actively went and spoke to a mortgage advisor, went and looked at houses, saved for the deposit, and done the active things. But then the outcome of that was then which sounds bad, somebody's mortgage fell through, and the people called me and showed me the floor plan of the house, and it was the same as the floor plan that I drawn. That was something that I never would have imagined could have ever possibly happened. And I'm sure when people are listening, they're saying that didn't happen, but the thing is right down there, and I'm sitting in the house that I drew. So half of it is what you've said. So I did half of the work that you said, but then the other half was still me taking action based on what I believe I'm gonna attract into my life.
Yeah, I agree that you definitely have to take action, because you can't just sit there like meditating all day. It's just like, my personal opinion on it is that it's not necessarily, like rigid action. Like how people sometimes, like, you go to these goal setting workshops and people will be like, you need to write the goals and set a date and do all these things. I don't believe life works like that.
Oh, that's me. I'm all for that. And you know why I'm all for that? Because I think people are not disciplined enough. And maybe it depends. Maybe because you're naturally, or not even naturally, you've learned to be more disciplined and dedicated. Yeah. But from my experience, people are not. And therefore, in order to get people to do a lot of things, you have to give them a deadline that they can see. Otherwise, they will just sit and visualize and do nothing. And I think that's why I think it's important. I know lots of people that tell me, this is my goal, this is what I want to do. And a year's passed, they didn't write it down, they didn't have any deadlines or specific actions, and nothing has transpired at all. So I think your way works if you're like you. But if you're not like you, then I think people need more rigid action plans. And even then, some people just don't want it, because I've had people with rigid action plans, they miss all the deadlines, their year passes and they still don't understand why they haven't moved any further forward. Not everybody is focused. Yeah. Definitely. But I quite like having this discussion, because I think everyone has so many different approaches to how they achieve success. And what you said before, that you haven't achieved the pinnacle of what success looks like to you. What is that? What does that look like to you?
So for me, the pinnacle would be to so I want to own a chain of hotels. I want to be worth $500 million. That's the aim. I want to be able to retire like while I still feel young, and have things set up for my children, like, so generations to come are basically set in my family. And Yeah, that's the pinnacle for me. Like, not really having to work, money's flowing in. On my way to being a billionaire. I am on my way to being a billionaire, but you
Do
know.
you think when you get to where you just said that you would be able to just stop, or do you think that you would just do this?
I think that once I get to where I am, I probably would turn my focus to my children then, and helping them upwards.
Sounds like a good plan.
Yeah.
Along the journey, what is the most kind of important piece of advice that you think that you've received?
Vibrational work comes first.
Who gave you that advice, and did you understand it, or understand the importance of it when you received it?
No, my mum gave me that advice many years ago. many years ago. If I knew what I knew now back then, I would already be a billionaire. So yeah, my mum gave me that advice many years ago, and I never understood it. I used to think my mum had gone a little bit crazy, not gonna lie. Like, she used to tell me all this stuff, and I'd be like, Mum, are you sure? Like, no, like, are you sure? She'd be like, yes. You need to be, everything has a vibration. And she used to tell me all the physics to the world. Like, my mum's really into it. So then, now I talk to my mum about it, and she's like, we have these discussions. It's really cool. But yeah, I think that was the most important advice. Even though I wasn't ready to receive it, I would say. But now I've received it. It's made me realize how much easier life is when you are doing the vibrational work. I think I was more fighting against myself before. So I was always confident and a go-getter, but I wasn't getting certain results because of where I was vibrationally and within myself. Even though I thought that I was, obviously subconsciously, things were going on that were bringing me kind of skewed results.
What was the breakthrough? What was the kind of aha moment where you said, I need to listen to what my mom said?
It wasn't necessarily listening to what my mom said. It was, I nearly had a breakdown. So my son ran away. So it was like a big thing to me. It was like death, because I don't know, it felt as if my arm had been taken or something, my right arm. It was just crazy. And it was so unexpected that it put me in such a low place that it was like I was either going to sink or swim. And I had to start meditating, and I had to start searching for, it's all the information that I had been told came forth and came into effect because I had to, because I was in such a low place, and I knew that it was just there was so many things going in with myself that I felt like I would do something crazy. Do you know what I mean? I knew it wasn't myself. I don't know if this is making sense.
No, I can understand what you're saying. Yeah,
it's my thoughts were just so low. I was angry. There was just so much emotion there that was just new to me, and I needed to do something to turn it around. Otherwise, I don't know what would have happened. It was just one of those, and it was I was feeling such a deep sense of grief with him gone that it was just crumbling me. So I had to kind of go within and search for strength within, and then that's when I was then I became more meditation, vibration, and everything. And then it's once I started to do that, my whole life turned around really fast as well. Yeah,
it's interesting. No, I definitely am going to try this meditation thing again. Definitely going to try.
People come here and they say, what's the secret? They always ask us this question. Tell us, what do you need to do? And we always say, and people look at us, they look so disappointed. And I feel so bad because people look at us as if we're lying to them.
Yeah,
Like when we actually
yeah, they're
tell
saying
them.
that that's not really. They just don't want to tell us.
Yeah, that's how it, that's what I think. I think that people really believe that we're not telling them the truth.
Mm.
And when I say it, people are like, okay, all right.
No, you know what it is though. Feel like not enough people understand and appreciate the power of the spirit and of the mind. And this is
Seriously.
why when I tell this story about my house, because I have the same. When I tell people about my house, I always preempt it and say, "You probably are not going to understand what I'm saying, but I'm going to say it anyway, and I hope that you will understand." But I
Yeah.
drew my house, and now I'm living in the house and that's why I can't rub
We
it off the board. But people,
you
not everyone's at that place to be able to receive it and appreciate the
yeah.
reality of it being a fact.
We done the same. We had the floor plans and everything of our house on the side of our wardrobe.
Mm-hmm.
And as came forth and we had cutouts of like certain things, like when we viewed this house, there was mirrors that we loved that we said we were going to buy once we moved to the new house and things like that, and they were here that
Oh,
we
I
had
didn't
on
get
our
that far ahead. I just drew the floor plan. Now I'm like, I don't know how am I supposed to decorate this place?
yeah, you should have done all that. We had decorations, everything, like,
No, I
and
didn't
a
get that
lot
far.
of it was here, a lot of it, and we were like, can we include it?
That's amazing.
So yeah, so the power of the mind is an amazing thing, and I think that because we haven't been trained to use it from we're young, it is a bit like of a cuckoo
Yeah,
woo
yeah. Mm-hmm.
thing, and but yeah, it's the best thing that I've discovered.
Mm-hmm. So before I continue talking for another hour, what are the 3 pieces of advice you'd give to somebody who wants to start their own business, whether that be trading or otherwise?
3 pieces of advice. So I would say, prepare yourself vibrationally, and meditate. Not to give up,
Mm-hmm.
and like believe in your own abilities and listen to your intuition,
Mm-hmm.
because all the times that I haven't listened to my intuition, that's when things have gone wrong.
Mm.
So I think that's a big thing.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's hard to listen to your intuition, but it's even harder when you ignore it and it comes back and bites you and you say to yourself, why didn't I just listen to myself? That might be one of the most annoying things in life.
Annoying, isn't it?
Because you knew, but you didn't listen.
Yeah, it is. I was thinking, you know what, I would have been a billionaire by now. You just think, like, no, it was 10 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
right? I had a sports company and somebody offered me 250,000 worth of Bitcoin to have half of the company. And I was like, I was thinking, like, my intuition was saying, just take it. So I went to speak to a solicitor about it, and I was like, you know, that there's this contract on the table. I took the contract and stuff, and I says, I'm really thinking about, you know, taking it on. And the solicitor turned to me and says, like, it's a scam. Like, there's no value to this currency. It's just like all you can do is buy paper with it. It's just ridiculous that you're even thinking about this and blah, 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 blah. So I turned it down, and that Bitcoin would have been worth 5 billion, right, 18 months ago.
Oh gosh, oh gosh, oh gosh.
So there's just, you know, even sometimes when you can't make sense of certain things, but your inner's telling you should do something, I still think you should go ahead and do it.
Mm. And I know I just said I wasn't going to ask a whole load more questions, but I feel like I can't end it without asking, how do you not cry at that?
Because it's not the end for me. Like I just feel like that's God's way of showing me that it's destined for me. I'm aligned with it.
That's true.
And it will come back again at some point in my journey if I pay attention.
That's emotional. I love it. Yeah, that's a perfect place to end, because I just think that is such a beautiful way of looking at it, because I feel like I would be not looking at it that way. But that's why
Yeah,
you're positive and I'm not.
it just didn't have my name on it, did it? Because if it did, I'd have it. So, and I don't think it would have been good if I had got it at that point. Like the relationships I had and things. Now, I'm glad that like my success has come to me where I am now. Because if it had come any earlier, oh Lord, I don't think my life would be the same. Put it that way.
No, I've really enjoyed speaking to you today, and I hope everybody that's listening or watching has enjoyed it too. If people want to find out more about the Harris Trading Academy, where can they get that information?
Well, our website is being built at the moment, but it is going to be the harristradingacademy.com. And at the moment, they can check out my Instagram at I am Layla Harris, shoot me a DM, and I will email them any information up until that point.
Fabulous. Thank you so much for taking part, and I will be checking in with a 3-month update to see what event you spoke at.
Ready for that. Ready for that.
And thank you so much for taking part, and thank you for watching, and for those of you who are listening, thank you for tuning in. Remember to tune in next Sunday at 8 o'clock for a new She's the Boss Female Entrepreneur Stories interview. If you haven't already done so, as I said at the beginning, make sure you click that subscribe button, and if you're not following on social media, She's the Boss INTL pretty much across all social media, so make sure you go and do that. And and remember, think big, take action, keep pushing. Thank
Don't
you.
Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe.
Thank you.